Hey, this is Cameron, and welcome to the practice log. Whoa! Oh god, why am I not wearing my branded Sore Hands merch? 1 second. God. I can't even find my sweatshirt right now. Oh well, it doesn't matter. You know, just some updates with things. I've done, I believe, all the auditions that I'm gonna do this time around, which you might be hearing me say that and be like, what do you mean this time around? When are you ever gonna audition for anything again? I don't know. I feel that after everything that I've done, which, by the way, I was like pretty psyched about the first audition. The second one, it didn't go like quite as well. Like I was pretty shaky and scared when I was playing my fugue, and it kind of came out crappy, and my guitar was making all these noises that I don't usually hear it make. Bad noises, like noises of your fingers like hitting the strings and like clanking, stuff that isn't like tone. But you know, that happens, I guess. I needed to be knocked down a peg. I wasn't ready. In the first audition, I pushed myself to the edge, and I didn't fall off, so I was like, oh, maybe the edge is like way further. But no, I really was at the edge. Whatever that means. I feel that if I did the audition again, it would go a lot better, though, because I was able to still manage myself. Like, I still played things well. It was just the first piece, I kind of got waffled. My big thing is that I need some kind of funding or like an assistantship if I'm actually going to do this. I applied to an in-state school, and I think for like the year it costs like 13 grand or something like that. So we're looking at like $26,000, just the flat rate too. You know there's going to be fees on top of that. And then the out-of-state schools, like they're cheaper, but they'll be out of state, so I think they kind of come around to the same price again. I ain't paying no 26 grand for a degree. I just can't do it. And I'm not willing to go into debt, especially when you consider you can find people who dedicate their whole lives to this thing, like me, for example. Sign up for guitar lessons if you want some guitar lessons. And even people like way beyond me, like Brandon, for example. He's taught me a lesson on the show. If you take like lessons like weekly or bi-weekly with somebody like him, like it kind of comes out to a very small fraction of what university costs anyways. So like a little like news, I guess. Brandon actually agreed to give me guitar lessons on an ongoing basis. So that's going to be starting in late February. But I think I'm going to do that until I start grad school, or if I'm not going to get like any reasonable funding at all, I might just wait another year, and maybe this time apply to more schools too, because I feel like I kind of underachieved in the amount of applications I sent out. I sent out 3 technically, but I never heard from one of the teachers, so I'm still waiting. So perhaps there will be a third audition, but I don't know. I've already cast my nets, and it's, we're done doing that now. Back to usual programming. When it comes to my own guitar education, keep in mind, like, I'm someone who has a lot of music education. Like, I literally have, like, a degree's worth of music education, which is a lot of money. It's being covered by my fat head over there. But ever since graduating, which I graduated in 2020, I haven't seeked out any private instruction whatsoever. I'm somebody who makes a living off of private instruction, and I believe that it's important. It's like super important to do. And I'm just kind of realizing now, like, I have a living, like I make a decent living. Why is it that I'm not setting aside like $200 a month just for music lessons for myself? Like every lesson I've received from like Brandon or like Dr. McDonald, they've all been so helpful. But yeah, I think it's time to just pursue it on a more consistent basis and like pick a teacher and stick with them for a while. So for now, it's gonna be Brandon Aker. Hey, isn't that freaking crazy? I'm not trying to inspire you to get a teacher right now, like as to further hawk my guitar lessons at you. But you know, I think if you're serious and you're not taking lessons, you should just have a little budget just for learning and just make it a point to just seek out somebody. It doesn't even have to be me. I mean, you should definitely take lessons with me. Just in that right private lesson, like it just sets your mind straight, and you become so clear. I'll probably talk about this in the practice that I just did, because I think I did, but watching other guitarists can be really helpful too. Like I was invited to attend a masterclass of one of the schools that I'm applying to, and I just watched somebody play. I met him, super nice guy, and just watching his fingers move and seeing like the actual attack of the finger and watching it like flow through the string with this force that I would have to like think about to generate. Like it was very like heavy, but it made this like loud, like filled the room kind of sound that I think is what people talk about with that like full round guitar tone that separates like beginners from like advanced players, like this dinky little mousy tone versus like dut 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 dut, like an actual Like, it sounds like an actual instrument, you know? It doesn't sound like you're playing a toy. So from hearing him play, like, fast scale passages, I kind of wanted to jump back into a piece that I haven't done in a while, which is Villa-Lobos Prelude number 2. Just because it has, like, fast scale passage stuff, and it has, like, places where you can be really loud, and it's very rhythmic. And it's just a good, like, concert piece, too. It's a great, like, encore or even prelude. And it's one that you never really outgrow, because it's, like, a hard, kind of flashy piece. And even if you're playing, like, way harder stuff, like, you can play it in a way that makes it very impressive. There's just a lot of room to grow in it. So I'm going to work on that one, because I'm finding now I know it really well, and there are just these little techniques in it, like these fast scale runs, where I'm just no longer accepting any slop with them, and I just want to hear clarity, and also having intention in, like, everything that I play. So, I mean, that's something that I'm looking forward to, because just that one masterclass and just hearing what the professor said, because he actually talked about intention, and then hearing the student actually play, too, it just gave me a lot of clarity for, like, the next steps that I'm going to be taking in my own journey, and it made me excited. Like, I would love to attend a masterclass like that, because I feel like I learned a lot from even just that one. So doing that every week, I feel it would just be a bombardment of knowledge and information that I would just carry. Which is funny, because I did take weekly masterclasses when I was in my undergrad, but I feel like my musicianship then, compared to now, it was just so underdeveloped that I didn't even know how to appreciate it. I've just been through a lot. Like, my mind is in a completely different place than when I was 20. So yeah, I feel like I'd get a lot more out of it these days than I did then. I was probably drunk the whole time back then. Not that I'm not drunk right now. You can't prove that I'm not. Just talking about my experiences. Perhaps we can answer some comment questions. Man, the channel's kind of dying, huh? Have you guys noticed that? Alright, well, this is an interesting comment from Stratios. Oh, God. I don't know how to say your name, but you know who you are. Mr. EA. You said on my scale progress video. This is actually really interesting advice I want to sort of unpack a little bit. I think you are slowing down your progress. Please elaborate. Find and isolate scales out of guitar pieces. Gardame Las Vacas. I don't know that one. Some loot crap. Alright, so basically you're just pitching scale pieces to me. Tico Tico? I don't know that one either. Hold on, what? There's a bunch of music I need to learn, huh? We ain't gonna be learning that one. I can tell you that. I don't know about this, dude. These scales have rhythm and do not move aimlessly up and down. Let's talk about that. You can call them aimless scales that I play. They do have rhythm. I'm doing them in different rhythms, like triplets with MA and 8th notes and 16th notes with IM mainly. So I don't consider my scales aimless because I'm only playing them in a few different ways. First, I'm playing them as 2-octave complete scales. No shifts. I should probably start working on shifting, because my shifting is probably underdeveloped compared to just with all the scale practice I've been doing. So 2-octave is not random movement. Like, that happens in music quite a bit. Then the other group that I'll do is 2 strings at a time, 3 notes at a time, which is a very important interval, a 6th. That's the span of a 6th chord, the first inversion chord. So it's kind of nice to be able to move through a scale 6 notes at a time, because you can actually hear the triad, and then, like, it's like everything else is like passing tones through the triad. And then the other way I practice them is speed bursts, like da 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 da, which is also rhythmic. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of practicing technique within pieces, because I feel that my technique should be brought to the piece later. I mean, that's how I've always learned, and that's kind of how I do things. And I don't think I'm slowing down my progress per se. Like, I think I got like 120 with scales, like decently clean. Like, it wasn't that great. Like, I was definitely at my edge. And then I can do 130 speed bursts, like if I'm warm. None of that was true like 2 months ago. So, you know, like I want to take like a year to really develop my rest stroke. And if I can actually get somewhere around like 130, 140 clean by the end of the year, that's like a triumph. Like, who needs rest stroke faster than that? Unless I'm a flamenco player, you know? So yeah, I'm not using scales from pieces directly, which like I do a little bit. Like, there's a big scale in the Villa-Lobos, but I find it more like widely applicable to use just the scales that we know and love, like the 5 scale positions, and get used to moving through them in all different kinds of ways instead of just one way that's like specific to a piece. But I don't know, I don't think I'm stunting my scale growth. I feel that I've made a lot of progress just in the last few months. And then this bit of advice is just straight up wacky. Also, ditch the metronome. What? Dude, your advice is unconventional, bro. And play the scales aiming for a good sound and let the rhythm of the piece guide you. I promise you, if you do this, you're gonna hit 160 BPM territory. How would you even know? You're not using a metronome. You think it's 160, it's actually like 135. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think I'm on track to hit 160 territory by the end of the year. I know that that's like far-fetched, but I bet I can get like a really sloppy 160. At least for like 6-note bursts. I bet I can get there. I can feel it coming. I really can. Ditch the metronome, that's like rare guitar advice. People don't usually tell you to do that. I think that there can be times to ditch the metronome, but I think in technique, keeps you focused and it kind of keeps you honest. The metronome's kind of hypnotizing. That's part of the reason why I like it, I think. I look at that as the equivalent of like imagine if you're working out and you like want to get jacked and some trainer tells you like, hey, you know, if you really want to get jacked, whenever you're using dumbbells, don't ever look at the weights. Just pick them up, just start going for them, and just don't worry about the weight. Let it guide you. Just like, it's like, well, I kind of want to know just to keep track and keep progress, and like, if I like grab the 50s and they feel unusually heavy, then it's like, oh, like maybe something's wrong with me. Like, I'd like to gauge where I am. I don't want to just be shooting in the dark all the time. And that's not to say that I'm like some big tracker guy. Like, I never track anything, but I do go by the 10s in metronome, like starting at 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 and so on, and they kind of feel like different levels of difficulty to me, and I don't even bother with going in between them, honestly, because if like one is uncomfortable, then I might as well just drop it down 10 and just keep working with that, and then just like as I bump it up, just transition more to doing speed bursts, just so I can like actually play fast enough without being inaccurate. Just get my fingers used to moving that quickly. Yeah, I don't know, I feel like without those levels, I would be pretty lost in my technique practice. I'm gonna keep practicing my scales as I've been playing them. They keep getting faster, so why not, you know? We'll see where I'm at by the end of the year. I think we're ready for some practice now, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up here. Yeah, I'll see you in the chair. So, like I said, I've been inspired to play Villa-Lobos Prelude 2 just because, like what I mentioned in that masterclass, you know, it just kind of inspired me watching someone play better. It was like, why don't I just play better? So I've been applying the idea of playing better to this piece. Because there's just a lot of stuff I didn't do with it before that I feel like I'm doing with it now, and incorporating a lot of rest stroke, which has been cool. Anywho, here's where it's at. Resolving it there. I think before I was playing it, I like wasn't even listening to what's even being played there, right? But it is. Yeah, and then stuff like that, like keeping a more stable position, makes that a lot easier. I feel like I had to know that my playing position was unstable, but it took, like, being in an audition to, like, really realize it, which is weird. So, you know, that's just going to be one of those pieces that I'm going to start throwing in and working on, but I'm going to work on it in a way that hopefully it'll actually improve over time, unlike how I've been working on it, like, years prior, which is just, like, it stays the same for, like, 2 years straight. Because honestly, already in this one practice session, it feels like I've made progress on it. I feel like before I practiced it today, I would be, like, unwilling to play that for anybody, but now I would feel
feel pretty comfortable doing that, just because I have something like going on with it, it feels. I still need to work on my technique for the middle section, but we'll see how good we can get this one just over the next like few months. I'll figure out some of the other stuff that I'm working on. I'm sort of, you know, when it comes to my practice, I'm kind of done with what I've been practicing for, which is like auditions. So I just need to move on and start working on new music. It's time to learn new stuff. I'm thinking some Barrios, maybe? I haven't played much of that on the show. That'd be fun. Yeah, you know, something to think about. Maybe some waltzes. I haven't really learned any of the waltzes. Yeah, alright, we can pretty much wrap this one up here. So, I will see you in the outro. Hey, well, you know, if you made it this far, be sure to subscribe and leave a like. And hey, want some guitar lessons? I'll teach you how to play guitar. And of course, if you want some merch, head on down over to Rootin's Delight, pick yourself up some merch, and all that stuff. Comment questions, feel free to leave them, ask me some questions about whatever, and I'll answer it to the best of my abilities, as you know. Alright, I'm gonna get back to practicing now, so I'll see you in the next one.